What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Tavern Talk. I'm Philip, and joining me this week is Essie Ward, who is a talent agent, a fashionista, a designer, kind of just seeing all aspects of the business, really, the entertainment industry, if you will. But thank you first and foremost for being here. I really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure, and thank you for having me here. Yeah. I'm just so enthused, and so good to see you again.
I know. I feel like we should tell a little bit of our history. I met Essie, when I was probably 13, 14.
Exactly.
My brothers and I performed, and she tried to help us out and everything, and it was good times.
You had the Price Crew.
The Price Crew, that's right. Yeah, it's
the Jackson 5 of Arkansas, the Price Crew.
You know what? At this point, I'll take it. That works. But no, yeah, so known each other for a long time, and that's why I kind of thought this week we're talking House of Gucci. And I was like, who might know a little bit about this world that might be able to provide a cool perspective, some neat insight. And so I'm really glad you could be here to talk about that. But
House of Gucci.
House of Gucci. Yeah, Lady Gaga. That.
Oh, she killed it.
Well, we'll start right there then. First impression, you just walked out of seeing it on the big screen. What is your initial reaction to House of Gucci?
First my thought was I'll say the northern end of it was so slow.
Yeah.
I was like thinking maybe I should do something on my phone. Then I thought, no, don't do that. You're here for a reason. But from the beginning, I wanted more. I kept, yearning for more. I was like, maybe it was the first hour into the show before there was ever any fashion. And I thought, I was lost.
Yeah. Yeah, we should state up front, this is nearly a 2-hour and 40-minute movie. Mm-hmm. So it's a long haul. Like, it's a lot to get through, a lot going on, a lot of characters. And yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. Off the top, I expected this to be like this pompous, outlandish, insight, not exactly Zoolander-ish.
You can read minds.
But, kind of a look inside the world of fashion and how outlandish it can get. And it didn't go to that extent necessarily.
I thought it would be more, quote, unquote, bougie.
Yeah, right.
I thought it would be, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I came here prepared not to like it.
But I am fair.
Okay. That's interesting. So this is based on a true story. I guess we should give a little summary of the events and what's going on here. So it's about Patrizia. I'm going to try to get all these Italian names right.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Gaga is Patrizia. She kind of forces her way into the Gucci family. She marries Maurizio, played by Adam Driver, who is Rodolfo Gucci's son, Jeremy Irons. And he, along with his brother Aldo, Al Pacino, they each have a 50% stake in Gucci. And Aldo also has a son, Paolo, who is played by Jared Leto under a bunch of makeup and prosthetics.
Perfecto!
And basically, that Lady Gaga as Patrizia, bulls her way into the family and kind of just upends everything that that Rodolfo and Aldo had going on. Aldo was really this entrepreneur for the business, had a vision for it. Rodolfo was kind of the vision for the fashion side, but was kind of reserved and laid back and everything, and just liked being in his estate away from everybody.
Away from everything,
yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, Patrizia kind of comes in and upends all of that and kind of puts ideas in Maurizio's head and nudges him to take over the family business, and certainly is doing it for her own benefit as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it goes from there and it gets pretty dark. But yeah, this is directed by Ridley Scott, his second movie of the year after The Last Duel.
And taking over what became a fashion house, starting with nothing and then ending up with something so major.
Right.
And it did tell the story, all the way through. And so I found that it was going to be slow. Now, one thing is, I will say this. Al Pacino is my favorite actor in the world.
Nice.
So when you put his name on something, I know to expect. So I don't know why I came here expecting not to like it. But if Al Pacino is in it, it is going to work. But at the same time, I saw that Jared Leto, he was like, okay, did they overdo the character some? I mean, I just wanted to see him in a better light because he had dreams
Right.
and hopes and ambition. And we saw those dashed,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. He's a
saw-
tragic character, really.
He's so tragic. And I saw him as the catalyst to the family falling apart.
Yeah.
Because he had the hopes and dreams, but he didn't have his father's backing.
Yeah.
And here's someone on the other side who didn't have the hopes and dreams, but you know the father wanted everything for him.
Right.
And it was an eye-opening experience in realizing that family can tear you apart.
Oh, yeah.
And this family was torn apart.
I especially felt bad for Leto's character because, like, you know, he has this ambition.
And he couldn't catch a break.
And nobody gives his vision or his designs at the time of day. Jeremy Irons' character looks at him and just totally annihilates any hope of, you know, what he thought he might have had in his hands, you know. He's got all the ambition and just seemingly none of the talent to execute it. And it's just, and I don't know a thing
tragic.
about fashion. You know, I don't know how good or bad his designs were. But it was really sad. And the performance itself is like, I feel like very divisive. Like either you love what he's going for or it just seems completely in another movie. But I kind of bought into it. Like I thought it was hilarious.
It was hilarious. I wanted them to just kind of, you know, slack up on him a little bit. You know, just slack up a little bit. But he played the role so well that I could feel his pain.
Mm-hmm.
I totally could feel his pain. And, you know, but then I thought, this is all part of the dynasty,
right?
You know, and who gets control of it.
Well, and I want to look into that more because even at the end credits, not to like spoil too much, it's, you know, actual history though, so you can look it up. But you know, the year that Gucci went public was the year he passed away, and they don't say much more than that. And I'm like, well, there's got to be more context to that, and because it did mention that he died in poverty, essentially.
In poverty,
so
can you imagine?
No,
the name is in lights, and it's synonymous with wealth,
right?
And privilege.
And he's walking by, probably homeless, looking at his
know.
name. Yeah, that's terrible.
So again, by the end of the movie, I had my stand-up moment. I literally thought, this is the industry that I bought into. This is the industry that I bought into as a child.
Yeah.
When my mother took me and my 4 sisters to the store and picked out 5 red velvet with white lace Christmas dresses and got up to the counter at Penny's and said, we cannot afford that. And she took us to another store and she bought fabric.
Yeah.
Red velvet fabric and white lace, and she made us dresses. And I thought she took a flat piece of fabric and made a 3-dimensional garment, and it is now wearable art.
Yeah.
So by the end of the movie, I was on my feet. I couldn't sit down.
That answers my question. That's amazing. I love that.
It does, because I saw the transitions.
Yeah.
I saw when Gaga truly realized that she was not a member of the family.
Right.
She could not wear the Gucci name.
Right.
But the reclamation...
I know.
In the end, we can't even say it, but
Yeah.
the reclamation, in the end, she owned it.
Yeah, I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
She owned it.
And let's talk about Gaga a little bit. Where are you at on her as an actress, and what did you think of her in this movie specifically? A lot of people have talked about her accent.
I thought it came off like German Italian or something. Pacino knows that in his diction to just trail those words on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hers were just straight and to the point.
Yeah.
And so I lost it there. But as the movie developed, she found her place.
Yeah. I thought she played into like the tone of the movie
she
very
did.
well.
As it went further on, like I said, the south side of it is what you're waiting for.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
all the tension is. That's where...
As the movie comes to a
Yeah.
close, you find it. And so I felt like she found her place. She found her moment. And she brought me into her life.
Yeah.
And for that, I would stand up for her regardless. And
Yeah.
I didn't feel that at first, though. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the scenes were just harsh, but
well,
she developed.
The character herself is kind of warm or difficult to warm up to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's. It's very clear what her intentions are, and you feel kind of some sympathy for Maurizio, Adam Driver's character, who Adam Driver's just, I mean, on fire right now. Everything he touches.
Everything.
He's great in it, and you know this is no exception. He's great in this, and he does create that. So because he clearly wants to do his own thing, wants to be his own man, prove himself outside of his family name. You know, he's studying to be a lawyer, and yet she once she gets her hooks in him, pulls him back in, and
He can't be himself.
Yeah.
And he's trying to find himself. So there's a
Right.
struggle there. The father is struggling with trying to understand, pushing family away and controlling.
yeah.
But he didn't have, I think he missed something when it came down to controlling Patricia. He just could not control
Yeah,
her.
I don't know if you could
as a wife,
Right, yeah.
And so for a driver to leave his family
Yeah,
and cling to his wife, again, it tells you the tragedy of family.
right. He was trying to keep things harmonious as long as possible, even though she was pushing him towards things that he
Exactly,
didn't
and
necessarily have any desire for.
When you read
And-
between the lines,
yeah.
you would know that he did want his family together.
Yeah, but because of how
um,
she played it, there was never going to be a different outcome. Just because it was she was just so persistent.
She
in,
was.
in and she's.
Oh, and she was loving too. She was.
She
just,
was.
Oh,
She
let's
made
go
sure-
see Uncle.
Yeah, yeah.
Uncle. Oh, Uncle, we love you. Oh, Uncle, you have a purse right there.
Yeah,
Uncle,
I get the
what's in
family
that purse?
discount. Yeah,
I know.
And we have to mention she hires Salma Hayek as her psychic medium to basically as a personal motivator of
Yeah.
sorts. And it's just
No,
funny to
that
see
was a
Salma Hayek,
surprise.
in
I'm
this
like,
type of role.
Okay, that was a surprise.
And she's
Like,
only in it scattered throughout, and I was like, okay, sure. It probably is a little overlong. It's one of those movies that you could very easily see being a TV series.
Cut. There's
Yeah.
some things that you could cut out, but in the end, I felt that the beginning was developing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So that we
for
could
sure.
truly see the characters develop. But once they developed, they were on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone had their thing to bring to the script.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great ensemble for sure, and I hate when people kind of have the conversation of movie or TV, what should it be? But this one I would love to see. You have not necessarily maybe like the American Crime Story or that kind of anthology stuff, but I would have loved to have seen a whole episode on Paolo, on Jared Leto's character, and stuff like that. So I would have been in the bag for something like this, but as far as the movie and what it is, I kind of wish it was a little more campy, a little more outrageous. But for what it does have going on here, I would say I firmly enjoyed it. I was very engaged and intrigued with these characters and what the arc was going to be, and then where they ended up just making it all the more impactful. So, I really enjoyed it. Was there anything else specific that stood out to you?
It was slow. I wanted to see more pomp and circumstance. I wanted the family to be more Kardashian-like.
They weren't going to show my ass crack or my nipples. This is full.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess if I was going to say
Yeah.
one thing, to people who might go and check this out is if you're looking for a movie strictly about fashion or having a lot of fashion, it doesn't have that much, really. It's more.
I wanted to see some of the major pieces from the house,
From the time period,
and to find
yeah.
out that they were literally allowed, some of the pieces that were actually vintage.
That's as good a place as any to kind of ask you here on Tavern Talk. We have a 5-star rating system. So out of 5 stars, what would your initial reaction rating be for House of Gucci?
I'm gonna say 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 4. I would like to say 3.5, but because it redeemed itself so well, we saw the pomp and circumstances. I mean, the dinner, the setting, the palatial home. We saw all of that glamour that we clamored for at the beginning, but at the end we saw it. So I feel like it fully it fully redeemed itself, and the characters came to life. I saw Gaga hurt. I saw the pain in her face when she was insulted. You know.
Oh yeah.
There at the end, and again, I can't say because people don't like spoilers.
Right.
But you know to look for these little points, and they should bring it all together. So I'm going to say 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.5. So I'm kind of right there with you. I did want it to be a little more outrageous, maybe even a little more campy, because Gaga and especially Leto kind of seem to know that that's the direction they were at least headed in. You know, and it's hard to tell the tone of the movie when you're actually making it, and especially if you're an actor and what it's going to be, and you don't have, you're not steering the ship. But for as ridiculous as the fashion world can sometimes be,
and it can be.
I'm sure, I have no idea, but I'm sure it can be, and the way it is at least portrayed here, for as much as that, like, it still comes down to that human story, and especially by the end, what happens with the story, it is very, very tragic, like we were saying earlier. But no, thank you so much for being here, for doing this. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. I think we both would, regardless of score, say see House of Gucci on the big screen.
Do see it.
It's a beautiful movie.
Do see it.
It's a beautiful movie. And if you have a movie tavern near you, definitely see it at a movie tavern. We want to thank them, as always, for letting us see the movie here, shoot the show in the theater. And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell. That way you get a notification each time we upload a review, which we try to do each week, a review of the biggest release. So thank you guys. Thank you, Miss Essie, once again. I appreciate it. Oh, we got
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. Thank you guys. Peace.
Bye.